Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello, welcome back. If you missed the last episode, just really quick, if you're still in December 2022, we had the December update and intuitive reading. So feel free to go back to that if you'd like to tune in. I'm taking a deep breath because honestly, it's been a little bit of an emotional morning. And I think it's very fitting for this topic. I was going to come and just share what I've learned about manifestation this year. And as I was sitting there talking to my wife, Amy, I was like, this is a manifestation. It is something like we all do, right? Like we all manifest, we're all being, and our energy is influencing what comes into our life. We're co-creating our reality, whether we are conscious of that or not. And I'm like, this feeling of the missing pieces that I've really kind of found this year is more than just about manifestation. It's bigger than that. It's healing. And the reason I think healing is bigger than manifestation is when we think about manifestation, we think about this reality and like what we want to call in here. And healing, I just feel the compound effect for generations and multiple lifetimes. And it's heavy today. So if you feel my energy right now, give yourself a hug and just know like this is energy sent from love and expansion and just honestly, a part of me wants to just be that person that I feel like sometimes I need. And it's like, things can get what feels like off track and it can get emotional, it can get intense, or just like kind of like, this isn't how I thought it was going to go. And a lot of emotions can come up around that. And so give yourself a hug because it's like, we are here. We're here in this experience. We're human. And, the duality of like, this isn't what I wanted and this is exactly what I want, or like, this is what I was thinking it was going to come out to be. It's like, that's what we're here to experience. And it's kind of like one of those silly things like, okay, yeah, like that's what we're here to experience, but I still have these feelings about it. And it's just like surrender, okay? Surrender to the feeling. And so I do want to talk about the things I have observed and learned throughout the year. And I can honestly thank the community that I have immersed myself in, the programs that I've entered into, the coaches that I've hired, my spiritual community and friends and family. Like everyone has brought me to the awareness that I have. And it just feels really good coming in this December month, not like it's a 9 month in numerology. And there's just so much energy that I feel right now is like about completion. And how fitting is that for a December month, right? Because a lot of people will think about the year behind them and start making goals for the next year. And what better month to like complete things than in December. So with that, I feel like this cycle of sitting in awareness is coming to completion for me. I think a lot of this year has been a ton of awareness. And I've been kind of called out, I want to say, in a loving way, that, awareness only takes you so far. And awareness is a great thing because awareness does really bring on, like just a different perspective. And it kind of illuminates where you've been sitting in your own patterns or beliefs, or maybe somebody else's beliefs. And so I am not by any means discrediting awareness because let me tell you, I am like the queen of awareness. And if you're close to me, I am highly intuitive. I am somebody who is very self-aware. I've spent many years just sitting with myself, diving into what's going on my inside. And that's reflected out into my environment, of course. So awareness is something that I want to say kind of comes natural for me, like gaining the awareness. And for many years, this awareness like sat dormant, like, or I ignored it. Like I pretended like I didn't even have this awareness. And when I finally opened the doors of like, okay, I am aware of this and that, and you know, the beliefs or the habits or the patterns. When you open that door, the awareness doesn't stop. Like it's not like you become aware of something and then you like create time and space to address that one thing before more awareness drops in, right? When you're open to awareness or learning new things about yourself, about the way you do things, about what you believe, you're really opening it up for like a library. It's like you're not just opening up one book, you're like opening up the doors to a library. And so a lot of times awareness is what you need to like activate change or transformation. And awareness is like the first thing in manifestation as well, and healing. So if we are talking about manifestation or healing, maybe I'll just interchange those throughout this whole episode. I don't know. I clearly didn't like make notes before I sat down to do this, but we're winging it. And you know, this need or desire for change, healing, or manifestation, it comes from some type of awareness, whether you're conscious of it or not. It can come from like the awareness can also come from like something happening to you. So, or like an experience, right? So sometimes the awareness has been there, but you haven't acknowledged it. And so then things you manifest like experiences. So it's so in front of you that you can't ignore it. And so when you willingly open the doors to awareness, it's like things just drop in. And honestly, if you aren't working with somebody or you aren't just like taking the time to daily like decompress and saying like, okay, what came into my awareness today, and like what is important to me, how does this influence like what I am trying to change or transform in my life and or heal. And it can get a little bit overwhelming if you're not intentional about that. And I know this from experience. And so when we talk about manifestation or creating this life that you want, which could be through change, transformation, healing, all the things, right? They're all like intertwined. It's not just about the awareness. You can sit in awareness overwhelm and not change a single thing. Or you can sit in like, oh my gosh, I'm so aware, and still not change a single thing. And this theme has been going on for the last year for me, of where I get this new awareness and I feel this pressure to do something about it. But then I'll feel like the pressure from a different awareness. And it's like, what do I do? You know, like, can I have some guidance? Like, where do I start? And so what I've learned about healing and manifestation is, you know, the awareness doesn't really stop, especially when you're open to it. And so what can you do to break that down, like to feel comfortable knowing that like the awareness is going to continue coming in? And what you can look at that as, you know, new information, that's knowledge and wisdom that you can use and alchemize to then manifest, to then heal. And so things I have learned this year, I'm like, let's I have the ideas in my head, but I'm like, what is the message that needs to be heard? And it's like, if you are paying for, I saw my Oracle deck. If you're paying for like Oracle and tarot readings, you purchased a course that's going to help you declutter your life. You purchased a course to manifest, like whatever, right? Like, or you're reading a book, you're listening to audiobooks, like you do all these things, personal development, right? But like, what happens after that? So you're reading the books. Oh, this is a good example. I read this book several years ago, How to Win Friends and Influence People. My dad recommended this book to me, probably when I was in college. I don't know when he first recommended it to me. He's talked about it throughout my whole life probably, but I read the book and it was good awareness. And then I read it again after I left my first marriage, and it was like I got more out of it. And I felt like at that time in my life, I took pieces of it and kind of like used that in my life. I read that book again 2 years ago. And I was like, there's a ton of information in this that I've now read 3 times that I have not taken a single ounce of thought of how to implement that into my life. So I've read this book 3 times now and probably implemented about 5% of the book. So this isn't to say like read a book and implement something every single time, because it's about the resonance, it's about the timing and your experiences in your life. And this isn't just books, this is like an oracle reading. If you receive guidance or like knowledge and knowing from a reading, it's like, where's the transmission? Like, where is this transmuting into your life where it's like, oh, this new awareness is going to influence a change in behavior, a change in thought, a change in pattern, whatever that is. So being conscious of that. The way that I have best found to kind of check in on myself with this is, if I am consuming something that's going to bring me more awareness, I'm going to set the intention beforehand and say, what awareness do I want to bring in? And knowing like it may or may not be exactly that, but I'm going to set the intention that what I need to receive is something that I'm able to then take action on. And this could be subtle. This doesn't have to be like this big thing all the time, but setting that intention is really important. Like, why are you reading that book? Like, why are you listening to this audiobook? Like, what are you hoping to get out of it, right? Like, sometimes we just pick up things because somebody told us to read it, and that's enough. But as you're in it, let's say it's a book, and as you're in it, like, start thinking about like, what, like, as I continue reading this, what do I hope to gain from this? And you don't have to know necessarily, but just, it could be that I want to read this with an open heart. I'm going to stick with book. I want to read this with an open heart to receive whatever it is that I need to. And maybe you'll say like, for my relationships, for my relationship with money. If you're reading like a book on finance, right? You probably have an intention of this. I want this to help me with this. So being intentional with that. And then I do this a lot. This is something that I was encouraged to do from one of my coaches, and then I have implemented into one of my old programs, Zoomed Out. Shout out to anyone who was in that program of mine. And I call it an energetic armory. Some you might have heard it as like an inventory, or just like a self-assessment of like, what are you doing? Like, where are you spending your time, your energy? And I love this practice because it's like the biggest gut check. It's like the biggest gut check. It's so helpful to see like, what am I doing with my energy, and does it feel good or not? Is this something that I want to continue? Is this something that I want to shift, or delegate or release? Like, there's so many things that like, if you just sat down and you might do this too, like at the end of your day, like, what did I do today? That is a powerful question. And like, how does it make you feel? And this isn't about productivity. This is about energy. This is about like spending and replenishing your energy. Because if you're spending all of your energy already doing all the things, like whatever, and you go to bed exhausted every night, and you want to read this book and expect that it to help you in this certain area, where is there room for that awareness to come in and shift something in your life? So that was like the biggest thing, is like, okay, if I want to gain this awareness, or if this awareness drops in and I want to use it to transform or manifest, then how, like, where's the space for that? And that was a huge deal. And so it all starts with awareness, something that you want to change. You maybe find a resource or something that can help you out with it. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it is doing the inner work yourself. Maybe you are a healer, spiritual leader, and you're like, I'm going to do this transformation. I'm going to manifest this in. And maybe you, I guess I just want to like talk about some of the tools and things that we use that are often associated with manifestation. This could be not dream journaling, a vision board. I'm like drawing a blank, scripting. And this could be like setting up manifestation water, like manifestation through flowers or food, or like you can use all these tools to manifest. And what those tools are for, this is a big lesson for me too, is like the tools itself is not what is manifesting for you. The tools are there to help your body and or your mind remember the frequency of what you want to manifest. So manifestation and healing, I'm going to combine the two, because when you're healing, a part of you is manifesting the healed version of yourself. Like that's essentially what you're doing. So manifestation, when we think of it like that, it often seems like, okay, it's separate from us. I need to call something in that's different. And a big lesson for me was, okay, this version of myself that I desire, that I think I'm calling in, actually already exists. And there's this frequency by maybe you're visualizing, maybe you're meditating, maybe you're journaling, whatever it is, you're creating a vision board, a Pinterest board. When you're doing that, you're bringing your body into the frequency of what that version of yourself is. Oftentimes, this is where people stop. And it's because, that's the fun part, right? Like dreaming and visualizing and like, what would it be like to be that version of me? What would it be like to manifest this? And it's often like up in the head. And so what I learned is like, I have to bring this feeling down into the body. I have to know what my body would feel like to receive $5,000. Like, what would it feel like in my body? What would that version of myself be doing? What would she look like? All this visualization, and maybe you have like moon water that you're charging to help you manifest. Okay, the moon water, when you charge it with whatever you're manifesting, and if you charge it like simply with, I want to manifest $5,000. I'm not saying you're not going to manifest $5,000, because there's other ways that this could be coming in, but the water needs to be charged with the emotional frequency of that version of yourself that has $5,000, that has received $5,000. And so this separation of like, I want to manifest this thing, and sitting in the frequency of I'm not there yet, is keeping you separate from the manifestation, separate from healing. Talking about healing, you are already healed. There's a healed version of you within you. It's not separate from you, but it is a matter of tapping into that frequency of what does that version of myself look like? What does she feel like? How does she talk? All these things, whatever's coming up for you. There's that frequency. You will notice a difference in the frequency. The biggest thing about manifestation that I have been missing is not continuously like putting myself in a frequency outside of me. Of like, this version of myself would be waking up this way and talking to our kids like this and doing that, like that's still separation. That's still not this version of me claiming that. So what needs to happen for like, this is just like, there's other ways to do this, right? But this is what is going to help you amplify your healing and manifestation, is that frequency that you feel when you daydream, when you visualize or journal. how can that version of yourself and that frequency be brought to you today? Like, right? Light bulb. I don't know. Maybe this is like, of course, like that's what it is. Like, that's what manifestation is. You're right. Like, that is literally what manifestation is. But a lot of people don't follow through with that part. They'll be like, oh, that version of myself is so eccentric or whatever, like, whatever. And it's still that feeling of, I'm not there yet. And so what parts of that frequency, that version of yourself, can you fully bring to your body right now? And maybe not all the parts, and that's okay, right? Because as I said before, the awareness is going to keep dropping in, and the new things that are like, oh, you know what? This new awareness is like one more piece to my puzzle of manifesting this version of myself. And of course, when you start manifesting things, like, you're not going to stop. You're not going to be like, oh, I manifested my new version of myself and I'm done. Like, that's not what happens. I guarantee it. Because when you realize, like, oh, I have this power to manifest what it is I truly desire, not just have things fall into place and hope it's what I want. Like, when you really step into that power, it's a way of living. If you follow Christina Rice, her Manifestation Mastery book, 10 out of 10 recommend, go buy it today, because it will change your life on how you view manifestation. And it really is a lifestyle. It's a way of being, because we are all creating our life, co-creating our life as, like, right now, like, whether you're conscious of it or not. And so if you have that awareness, like, don't you want to kind of master that? Like, and if not, that's okay. But if you're listening to this, I'm guessing that yes, you do. So I had some big lessons. Like, my guides are here and they're just like, you've taken on a lot of awareness this year, but like, what are you going to do with it? And that's kind of a harsh question for somebody who does this work, right? Like, I help people transform. I help people change and manifest and heal. Like, I like to hold people's hand and say, like, it is okay to do something that seems so wild and so unconventional for you. But if that's your desire, like, I'm going to be right by your side. And it was kind of like a gut check, right? Like, what am I doing? What am I changing? And I so humbly was reminded by my wife that, like, you've changed so much. There's so much growth that you've experienced this year. And I said, of course, like, I know that, but it's really that check of, like, anything that you think you haven't gotten yet is because of you haven't implemented your awareness. So my question today for most of you probably is, what have you been aware of that maybe keeps popping up? Like, my awareness it's not quiet. Like, and that's how I know where to act. Like, that's where I know, okay, where's the aligned action? Because my emotions and my awareness is like my compass. It's my gift. Everyone's going to have it a little bit differently. You might, I mean, I don't even know. Like, we would, working in a container, working one-on-one, like, we really dive into this of how is your physical body, how is this version of yourself receiving that guidance to know, like, what the next step is. And sometimes I don't know, but it's a matter of just take a step and then the next step will be revealed. And a lot of times, that's scary. There's a lot of fear of, like, what if I step off a cliff? Like, where's that step taking me? And so releasing some of that expectation and stepping into the unknown is also a huge part of manifestation. Okay. I am somebody who's big picture. And so I don't really get nitty gritty. If we look at your human design chart, you can tell if you're a specific or non-specific manifester. And what this means is, like, you would really thrive, depending on which one you are, either looking at the big picture or the details. And so the big picture is more like, how's this version of myself feel? You know, what is the experience like? What is this life feeling when I manifest X, Y, and Z? So like in comparison, the details is like very specific. So like, let's say a house. If we're manifesting a house and you're non-specific, then you might pay more attention to how it feels when you walk into your house, or like if there's a specific thing that you do want, then it's like you're tapping into the energetics behind that, the feeling, the ambience, like if we're talking about a house, right? And maybe it's I want to be by the water, but you're not specific about what kind of water. You want to have wood floors, but maybe not like the color of wood floors. Like that's a basic example. But it's like, I know generally I need this much, like an outline, like maybe 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and like general things. And it's more about the feeling. It's like, I want it to feel cozy and by the water. Whereas if I'm a specific manifestor, I'm going to say, I want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and I want my house to face east, and the entryway needs to be like that, like specific, right? And this isn't about being specific to call in that exact thing, but it's like your body, your nervous system is really going to thrive and get into the frequency when you think about the details. Me, I am non-specific, so when I get into all the details, it takes me out of that. It takes me out of the frequency I want to be in, because it's a little bit more stressful for me to figure out, like, what are the details that I want? Like, do I need to know what details, like, about a house, right? Like, I know for me, I'll just maybe I should have been more specific to start. For me, if I'm manifesting a house, the things I care about is lighting, the kitchen, and now I would say in my life is like location. Like, I really want to be by the water, and I don't necessarily want to be in a cookie cutter neighborhood. And so those are the things, because I want to feel like I have space to grow and be in light. And the kitchen's always important for me. The kitchen, it's funny because I do like to cook, but it's not like a huge part of my life, but I just love kitchens. And it's because that's where things are made. And my human design environment is kitchens. And it's about creation and transformation. So that room in a house is very important for me. So like, I don't have the details of like what I want the cabinets to be like. I just want to feel very expansive and have room and space to change direction and transform inside my kitchen. So like, you can see how like there's details coming, but I'm not getting really specific. Whereas somebody who is specific might be like, yeah, I need my kitchen to not have these appliances, or like to have specific appliances, maybe have an island. Like, there's just more details, and it's like really lights them up. So you might be able to like figure out which one you are just by hearing those 2 descriptions. But it's like, I don't know what got me onto onto the specific and non-specific, but like, what are you doing that is keeping you in that frequency, and that's reminding you every day that, oh yeah, this is the frequency of what I'm manifesting, therefore what I'm finding within myself. And it's so powerful to kind of see that, like, I have the ability to attract what it is that I desire because I'm choosing to be in that frequency right now. And that's where the disconnect really is. It's not like I'm gonna put this affirmation or this vision board out so I can see it every day and hope that it comes to me. Because that's not it. Like, it is that vision board, you're making it so it reminds your body of the frequency that you want to step into every single day, even if you have to wake up and reset your frequency. I do that every day with selenite. I go all over in my dreams. And so every morning, I'm a mom of 4. And so sometimes I wake up and I'm like thinking about what I have to do and thinking about what kids I have to get dressed and who has to be where when. And it, like, starting my day like that is either delaying my frequency, like it's keeping me out of that frequency longer, which is fine. Like, okay, so be it. But when are you bringing your frequency back into what you want to manifest? That version of yourself. She's not far away. She's really not. She's probably watching you when you're like really caught up in the day-to-day things. And so what I do early morning, I try to do this before I even interact with kids, but I mean, we have a 6-month-old and a 3-year-old who loves to come into our room in the morning. So it doesn't always work this way, but even, let's say I say good morning, even going into the bathroom, it's like, take those deep breaths. Like, what frequency am I choosing to step into today? And that's when you see things dropping in for people. You're like, how did you even manifest that? And it's something that is like basic, like simple, right? It's not super complicated, but our bodies and our way of being, we're so conditioned to just continue with what we know and what we're familiar with. So if you are manifesting change or transformation and healing, know that it has to be a daily intention until at some point, your body is going to wake up and remember that frequency. You can invite yourself, I would like to wake up in this frequency tomorrow, and just experiment with that, right? Because everyone's going to be different. I'm trying to think, like, I didn't write any notes. I mentioned that, but I don't want to miss anything. I feel like this year, I've done some reflecting. So I'm like kind of in this, like, I know what to do next. And it's like, I feel this urge and this real like invitation to show you guys, like, these are the things that I skipped over because I was so excited. And I thought, this can happen just like that. But I was missing the steps. I was missing the big things that are actually most important of tuning in my frequency, like aligning my frequency. Like tuning into my frequency every day and then choosing which frequency I want to step into, because it is a choice. So manifestation, it really is a choice. You're deciding what frequency you want to live in, and with your intentions and with your thoughts and your beliefs, that's really what you're determining falls in with that. Okay. So I am really excited because like this whole year, I feel like has brought me this extra awareness around this process, this cycle, and really like this experience of healing and transforming and manifesting. And I'm bringing that to my community. And I'm really excited to just open up the doors to invite people in to get curious, explore, and see, like, what have I been manifesting in my life that that's no longer serving me, and what's going to happen when I release that. And that's where the power really comes in. And so my membership that I'm opening, it's called the Transformation Temple. It is a safe space for you to come and explore those things and get the support you need to help set that foundation of, okay, maybe I've been manifesting these experiences in my life for the past however many years, but I'm ready to shift that. I'm ready to heal the beliefs that I can call in something different, something more aligned. And that's the powerful piece I'm really excited about. So the doors are opening to the Transformation Temple later this month. If you aren't on the wait list yet, go ahead and click the link below. The wait list is going to give you early access, and also I'm going to share details ahead of time specifically to the wait list. It's going to be low investment. So yeah, I recommend it if you are wanting to walk into the new year with clarity and ideas of things you want to shift and change and manifest into your life, then this is going to be a great container for you. Plus, it's going to bring you energetic healing and energetic transformations as well. So a lot of what I talked about is what helped me step into this, knowing that we can say and think the things, but where is our energy at? And how can we start a transformation energetically So we know we're already in alignment, depending, like, no matter what we do. So yeah, there's that. Sign up on the wait list. And I think I want to just finish this episode with a couple cards. I enjoyed doing that expansive reading last episode, so we have cards popping out already. Oh, okay. We have, oh, I feel like one of these cards I have not even seen before. Okay, I have 5 cards here. We have Sky Dancers, and which I'll share the numbers. It's 48. We have Repairing the Veil. And we have First Breath. I love this card. It's the card that's on like the cover of the deck. Deep Quiet, number 11. First Breath was 21. And Feast of Plenty, number 20. Ooh, okay. So some of the themes for this that are coming through is surrender. This is surrendering to like the expectation, like release the expectation so you can surrender and trust that as I'm doing this work, as I'm being honest with myself and setting that frequency, there's a part that needs to surrender. So the doors can open, so you can be open for how you want to receive, for the way it's ready to be delivered, right? It might not be how you want to receive things, but surrendering to how it is delivered is a big thing. That's for healing. That's for all the things, right? This is all connected. Forgiveness, repairing the veil. This is in reflection, as you start getting into this work, if you do like the energetic armory that I described, like just writing out everything that you put your energy to, like there's emotions that are going to come up because it's like calling yourself out, right? Like it's like, oh, I've been putting a lot of energy into this when I know it's not serving me. It's not even a part of the version of myself that I'm trying to manifest. So there's this forgiveness and this gratitude that comes in that's really going to kind of repair that foundation you're sitting on of all the things that I've committed to and accepted into my life in the past have served me in some way. And maybe I don't fully understand what that is, but I can forgive myself and for any emotions that are coming up and release any guilt. Because if we are guilting our way through transformation or healing, the foundation is going to crumble at some point. This is how sometimes people can, what appears on the outside manifest in a lot, but then like you'll see them lose everything. And that's where, what was their foundation? What was their intention coming in? And was there that kind of reflection and gratitude for the things that they are releasing? The beginner's mind is kind of, the first breath is like a beginner's mind. So it's kind of like the Fool in the tarot, where it's like, I'm gonna step into this. This is like fun for the new year. Like I'm gonna step into this, maybe explore some different things and allow myself to be surprised, allow myself to experience what I need to experience with an open mind and really surrender. It goes really well with that surrender card. And then we have Deep Quiet and Feast of Plenty. Yeah, the Deep Quiet is coming through really strong right now and saying that what comes natural for someone like me is like, I like being curious with myself. I like sitting with myself and asking myself the why questions and really getting to the root of emotions and things in my life. And this isn't necessarily everyone's cup of tea, but what they're saying is this solitude with yourself, the wisdom that comes from just being honest with yourself. And if you're always around somebody where you feel like, I can't speak my whole truth, I can't, like there's that, well, they can't know that, or I'm not ready to be open with myself about it. It's like an invitation of like, you don't have to be. The only person you need, I mean, honesty is great, right? But the thing that is going to help you open up is being in this kind of state where you are surrendering to yourself and you're like, what do I need to know? Have your body and your mind and your experiences allow you to be curious, allow you to receive what you need to receive. And there's this, they're saying like right now, like you can do this part now, because it comes with reflection. Like, what's coming up in reflection? Are you only reflecting on the things that really light you up? Or are you reflecting on the things that you're like, I wish this would have went differently. I wish that maybe I would have handled it this way. The things that you're avoiding because you want to stay in the light is where the biggest awareness is going to drop in. And Feast of Playing. Yeah, there's a couple cards that I haven't actually seen from this deck. And interesting, because I've had this deck a long time. Choices and their consequences. This card is pretty cool. It has like a bee. Let's see. Yeah. So the swords going in, it's kind of like when you have this vision, let's say you're manifesting or healing and you see this vision of yourself, and then it's like, okay, you can see so clearly that version of yourself, and this is like bringing it back to here, because if that's what you're manifesting, but then you choose to go do the same things that you've been in the pattern and routines of doing before, that's the choice you're committing to, which is not right or wrong, but then it's gonna feel like you're gonna have the consequences of that. So it might be delayed healing, it might be delayed transformation or manifestation. And it's like, don't get caught up on that. Like every moment is an opportunity to choose differently. Like every breath. They're like, there's so many opportunities, but be conscious of, is this in alignment or not? And the forgiveness is popping up straight from this card, because repairing the veil. Because if you have the vision, and you're like, hey, this is the things I'm going to change. This is the frequency I'm stepping into. And then let's say you act out of alignment from that. Like, what are you doing with that information? Like, get curious. They're saying, get curious. Like, observe the times where you're not as persistent with yourself, where you're not as committed to that frequency, because that's where the wisdom is. And you need to forgive yourself. So a lot of times people will be like, I can't manifest because I've already screwed this up. I've already kind of, figured that music is coming in, that sorry, I had to break just to shift this music here. Okay. Slight delay. Okay. So there's this forgiveness that's needed as well as you're going about this, because you are human. You are still living in these experiences where you've created this version of yourself, right? And so there's this forgiveness and this acceptance of like, these are the choices that I'm making, and knowing, like, just having that awareness, taking that time to reflect and say, was this, if you need to come back to it and reflect, that was this in alignment with the frequency that I am wanting to step into, that I am choosing, that I'm deciding to be. And that's where the power comes. I love that these cards, of course, are what we need to hear for this topic. So I am going to leave you at that, and we will come back again for another episode, of course. But I wanted to just remind you to sign up for the waitlist of Zoomed Out if you are interested in being in a safe space that will hold the love and just acceptance for you to transform and heal and manifest. And yeah, I will leave you at that. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time on the Intuition Playground.